Hey guys, how's it going? This is just a test stream. I am actually still in Vegas right now with my laptop, and my laptop's pretty crappy. But I wanted to drum up a stream super quickly just to see if everything was working. If like you guys can hear me fine, if I'm like cutting in and out. So I'm just gonna stay online for like probably like 15, 30 minutes. Talk about obviously there's plenty of stuff to talk about in the ecosystem right now. So yeah, for those of you who are here, all 15 of you who just showed up because I just turned this thing on, I appreciate it. Let me know, like, can you guys hear me okay? Am I like cutting in and out? Yeah, just throw it in the comments below. That'll help me out a lot because I do want to do at least one like proper stream while I'm here in Vegas if the tech will allow me to. So for those of you guys who are watching on Twitter and YouTube, just like throw it in the chat. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Am I like lagging a lot? Yeah, it'll help me a lot to plan out a more to see if I'm able to do a more organized stream. So yeah, I'll wait see if anybody in the chat is able to hear me, and I'll type it in the chat. Chat. Okay, Bailey Bob says good, awesome. Dip Slayer, what's up, man? Almighty Hexagon, good to see you over there on the Twitter sphere. Hey, thanks, Dip Slayer. I appreciate it, guys. Cool. So, lots of stuff has been happening, huh? We have had Richard Hart officially declare P-Hex to be the real hex, and E-Hex is no longer an official RH ecosystem token, which is pretty crazy. I mean, everything leading up to this, both pre-Pulse Chain launch as well as post-launch, had been more ambiguous, although I'd say it was not that complicated of a puzzle to figure out that Richard preferred Hex on Pulse Chain versus eHex. He had a tweet where he's like, "Hey, like the market decided that the pHex is worth more, etc., etc." He made that whole little video montage of him basically implying that why would you not use the asset with cheaper fees, etc., etc. So the tweet that he made was, most of us could have guessed that was his position, but it was definitely very different with him saying it so bluntly, right? I think that was the big shocker to the entire ecosystem, just how bluntly he said it, which obviously caused a big sell-off. So eHex obviously minus 50% right on the tweet. It's been dumping down pretty hard, but interestingly enough, there have been people buying it. Some people have been trying to pick up the dip, catching this falling knife. So I'm interested to see where it goes. Unfortunately, I was not able to exit my eHex position just to try to preserve some value, but that is okay. I'm just going to let it ride. There's no big deal at all. Let's see, what else did I want to say on that? Yeah, so pretty much eHex is no longer an official RH coin. Let's see. pHex is the official one. Oh, another interesting move, bridge fees, right? So the bridge has no fees going into Pulse Chain and fees leaving Pulse Chain. And so that's just kind of another signal that like Richard's like, yeah, bring over the money. He wants to start moving money all the way over onto Pulse Chain completely and is no longer supporting anything on Ethereum. There are some implications of this for Alex and V2 stuff, and he gave us some clarity today, actually. So it looks like he is planning to move forward as planned. Yesterday, he said that things may look different, and today he gave more clarity that he still plans to do the interoperable ethos of V2 and is still planning to probably add some utility to eHex over on Pulse Chain, which I think would be pretty cool. I mean, it seems like most people are taking the opinion that eHex is basically a meme coin at this point, which I think is a valid way of looking at it now. Definitely, like the staking was wrecked before any of this because of the gas fees. It was pretty untenable to stake unless you were a large player who had like the ETH to play around with. There was one comment that I had from somebody in my private group that his plan was to use the profits from PHEX when he ended his stake to be able to end his stake over on Ethereum. And I think that was a pretty good strategy because let's just say, for example, the gas fee to end a EHEX stake was $1,000, just for an example. And we're seeing $1,000 end stakes now. But you're able to get $1,500 worth of HEX out in that EHEX stake. On its own, it wouldn't be worth it because you pay $1,000 and you have to sell all of it, and then you get like 500 back. The calculus isn't super great there, but well, I guess it's the same. But if you sold your PHEX to be able to get it, then you're still net $500. So it's like, as long as it's profitable, like, it made sense. But the probability of it being profitable is decreasing as the price of ETH is going up and as the utilization of the Ethereum L1, Ethereum main, the base layer of Ethereum is being more popular. So yeah. Definitely a big day for the history books with Richard Hart basically killing his firstborn child, as some people on Twitter are saying, which I think is pretty funny. And some of the memes have been pretty funny too. But yeah, my condolences to anybody who was buying EHEX after the fork. That includes myself. I also bought a little bit over on Pulse Chain. So yeah, those bags are not doing super great right now, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be definitely interesting to see how it shakes out because... Well, let me take a step back. So one thing that was interesting to me before this tweet was that it seemed like EHEX was carving out space for itself. It was carving out space for itself. Like it was obviously the less valuable hex between EHEX and PHEX because the market was declaring that. It was about 2-to-1 ratio. Yeah, it was about a 2-to-1 ratio. And so the market was already deciding it, although there was definitely still some activity and demand for it. And this tweet basically, I don't know if it killed the demand for it. It definitely killed some of the demand for it, but it increased the amount of sell pressure on it for people basically losing confidence in it. Because before it was a little more ambiguous, where Richard was just like, hey, we'll see where the market decides, to no, like, EHEX is the worst one. And you shouldn't use it, and the real hex is Pulse Chain. And there are a lot of people in the community who have been championing that message in the first place, and they're taking a little victory lap, which is well deserved. They're on the right side of this discussion throughout the community. So I'm really excited to see how Alex's V2 contracts interact with the Ethereum Icosa and the Ethereum Hedron, and that's a lot of the reason for that is because there was a play before this announcement that a lot of us in the Icosa Hedron community were talking about, and that was to buy the cheaper asset. And the reason is because when you bridge over, say you have Icosa and you bridge it over to Pulse Chain, so it's the wrapped version. When you upgrade it, that wrapped Icosa would then become P-Icosa on the V2 contracts. And that right there made it so it made the most sense to buy the cheaper one, because you get more units. And over on V2, the utility of both is the same. So you're getting more units of utility by buying the cheaper one now and upgrading it. And you could decrease your risk a little bit too by it being a Pulse Chain asset on the other side. It appears, based on tweets that Alex has said, that this mechanic is still in play. So like yesterday, before he tweeted that, I was a little unsure how viable that strategy was. Now that he's tweeted that, that strategy still seems to be viable. I would still exercise some caution on it because the whole participating in Ethereum assets, because Richard is no longer supporting those things from a narrative perspective, it's more risky playing over on that side, and there's still less risk over on the Pulse Chain side. So just keep that in mind when you're if you're looking to execute that strategy. Just that, yeah, it's a little bit more risky than it was 2 days ago to do that. So that's what I would say. If someone asked me, hey, is this play still viable? And some people have asked me that, I would say yes. Based on the information we have, you could still feasibly do it. There's just a little bit more risk associated with it. Also, the Ethereum, Hedron, and Icosa have much less liquidity, as well as when the migration happens, the liquidity of the V2 will be a little bit more in question. So we don't know what that's going to look like. So that's another area of risk when participating in that side of the draw. But yeah, we have a ton of people, 76 people watching, which is awesome. Split between probably YouTube and Twitter. I'd like to see the breakdown of that. Hold on, I'll go to Twitter and check it out. I'm glad that the stream is working. Let's say hi to some people in the chat. Billy Bob, Ditch Slayer, what's up? Rugburn, what's good? We pissed here. Yeah, there are a lot of people who are very upset with Richard's tweet, and a lot of people from the outside are really taking the opportunity to bash Hex, being like, "Oh, hey, Richard Hart rugged Hex." Don't panic. Don't panic. What's up, man? How you doing? Isaac, yes, I am back. I have not streamed in quite a while, which is pretty crazy. Just been busy with dental school, wrapping things up. I graduate in May. So yeah, that's pretty much where most of my attention's been. I am not happy that I haven't been posting as much content. So what I want to do is set like a specific time, like every single week at minimum, where I know that I'm going to stream. So keep an eye out for that. I'll probably call it Sloth and Chill. I think I had an old series like that at the very beginning of my stuff, but it was just like very short videos. But I might do that as a live stream, as like a general Q&A. Hazel Hex, thanks for confirming that everything is okay on my end. Hey Sloth, I'm carnivore and I don't use toothpaste to brush my teeth. That's cool. Hey, if it's working out for you, man. Obviously I recommend toothpaste, but if that's working for you, like, don't listen to me. I'm not even a dentist yet. Good to see you, buddy. Oh, hey, Frank. Oh, man. So let me just say this really quickly, because I was in Vegas for the Pulse Chain tour meetup, and it was awesome. I got to meet a whole bunch of really awesome people, Frank being one of them, Corey Geary, Crypto Vince, Access Alive, MA, like people I see in the chat all the time. I got to see Eddie from I got to see Eddie. I got to see I met Maddie Allen briefly. Man, so many people. I'm going to forget people. Crispy Man. I got to see Crispy Man. Also, check out his new website, hexfire.io. Definitely check that out. It's worth taking a look. A lot of awesome data. And if that data is valuable to me, I highly recommend doing the paid subscription for all of the bonus content that he has. I think it's very valuable, and a lot of people can get a lot of value out of it. And I think it's great to support Crispy Man, because he does really great work for the community. It was really fun hanging out with you, Frank. We got to have some good conversation, have a good little breakfast together. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate you, man. EHEX will come back to one side eventually. No complaints here. Perhaps Alex's take on Hedron helped Richard choose his direction. No, I don't think Alex would take any. I'm sorry. I don't think Richard would take any leads from Alex. Richard kind of does his own thing, and then Alex is like building on top of it. But yeah, I think it's still valid for people to build out the vision that they have for all of these assets, independent of what Richard Hart thinks, right? So like EHEX will always be an ERC20 that exists on. Will always be, it'll always be an ERC20 that can build off. Nobody can stop people from building on EHEX. Nobody could, no one can stop EHEX from existing, right? Like there are ways that people can stop the price, but typically, like, if the OA put up a huge sell wall, that would stop the price. But from a tech perspective, anybody can give value to EHEX, and if they believe that EHEX still has value and want to contribute to that value, I think that's great. It's up to each person individually to decide where their time is best spent and how to spend that time. And so if Alex has a vision, which he's clearly stated, that EHEX still has value, and I recommend checking out his tweets to check that out, more power to him. I'm here for it. I'm pro Alex and whatever he builds. And so I'm excited for when we get the testnet out and we're able to, thank you, Hexagon Hill. I appreciate that. This is why it's a test stream, because I want to see it. Also, it was a pleasure to meet you, Hexagon Hill. Man, you were awesome. It was a pleasure to meet you. It was a pleasure to meet your girlfriend. You guys are great people. And, definitely one of the highlights of the trip. So thank you, man. Where are we at? 28 here, 38 now. Yeah. So for some reason, Twitter views are way up higher. I was watching Corey Geary and Dane stream today, and they had a lot more viewers. I think they cracked like 300 across both platforms, which is absolutely amazing. good for them. Like they deserve all of that. But it was like a huge jump, and I noticed it. A lot of it was on Twitter, and I just checked the Twitter myself. Mine had like 40 followers, 40 viewers on there. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I guess more people are watching videos on YouTube on Twitter all of a sudden. Maybe something's going on with the algorithm. Hold on, I'm gonna check how many viewers I have right now on Twitter. It looks like I have 66, which is like before it was only like 4 or 5. So of the 113 people here, most of them are on Twitter. I guess this is just bull market things, guys, right? Ozzy asked, can we still sell our EHEX stakes to get the echoes? Yep. All of those functions are still perfectly available and able to be used. So you can still do all of that. Sorry, being bought up, more buyers and sellers all day long. People do not understand how many people. Yep. Yeah, I mean, some of the wicks that were happening were like 2 to 3x wicks, which is pretty crazy. A lot of that's because of low liquidity. I haven't checked the V3 liquidity histograms lately, but I assume we're in like super illiquid territory where any buys just like pop the price right up. And that will actually probably be most of the support for EHEX right now. That is the low liquidity environment that it's in. So when it goes into that really, really low value, I wish I could pull things up, but my computer's too bad to be able to support that. But as you go into like the very low histogram bars, like it takes less money to push the price up. And funny enough, that actually acts as support because people don't want to sell into it because they lose a lot of slippage. And anybody who buys up all those cheap coins pushes the price up really high. So support can look like a big a bid order, a lot of like ETH or USDC or like Pulse Chain on that side. It could look like that, but it could also look like low liquidity because no one wants to eat all that slippage. I hope. Let me know if the video is still lagging, guys. Yeah, that would have been nice. But we got what we have. Yeah, let me know, guys. Exhibitionist. Bull market doesn't wait. Yeah, bull market doesn't wait for anybody. When it comes. It's a good thing the SAC wallet positioned itself with a lot of ETH. That's very, very nice to see. So we're gonna get assuming it continues to buy, which we don't know. But if it continues to do what it has done, the dollar value of that is going to increase. So the velocity of the price going up is going to be much, much higher, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's still lagging. Damn, I'm really So this is why I wanted to do the test stream because I wanted to see how well the audio visual the AV is. It looks like it's not so great, so I might hold off on streaming until I get back home from Vegas this weekend. Hexecution, good to see you. And actually, yeah, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna talk about Trinity. Don't you worry, buddy. Let's see. I don't know what that is to browse Twitter. Along or he's not showing. I don't think he's deleted it. He probably hasn't deleted it. Yeah, I'm not sure. Brad sends a green bathing suit. Well, a red bathing suit back to you, sir. Really quickly, I want to talk a little bit about what's coming up for the Sloth DDS NFTs. There is a collaboration between me, Hexecutioner, and Red Squirrel. So I have my NFT collection. Red Squirrel has in his NFT collection, so Sloth DDS, Squirrels.pro, and Hexecutioner currently has an NFT mint going on at ocelots.win. That's OCELOTS.win. OCELOTS.win. I'm pretty sure that's right. Let me double check the URL before I send it. Yep, that's what it is. Ocelots.win. And actually, Snowflake Society, this will get to your question. Oh, hey, it's not lagging. Look at that. Woo! Tech is working. But yeah, Ocelots.win. So this is Hexecutioner's current NFT project that's being released. And basically, before I get to Trinity, the Ocelots have a really, really cool feature. And I've never seen this before on an NFT mint, but the base price for each ocelot is 1 million pulse, and there's about 600 some. 200 have been minted, so there are about 400 left. But if you pay 2 million pulse, the NFT that you get is has royalties for that address. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm going to take a quick brief intermission. Sorry, guys. Someone was calling me and it was ringing in my headphones. So if you mint these for 2 million pulse, the NFT that you mint, the royalties from all the secondary sales goes to the address that minted, and that's something that I've never really seen before. In an NFT collection. So if you mint one for 2 million NFT and you put it on the market and it gets bought and sold a bunch of times, your address is going to be the one that receives all of those royalties. And Executioner, please correct me if I'm wrong about this, but that utility is locked to the address that minted it. So if that wallet becomes compromised for whatever reason, then that those royalties that you bought, those lifetime royalties that you bought, would also be compromised as well. So just keep that in mind if you decide to mint for 2 million pulse. I would maybe do it in a fresh wallet that you make new keys for, send the pulse over, mint it, and then remove that that address, that wallet from your computer, and just store that away so that there's no risk of it ever being compromised. And then pulse will just drip into it over time as people buy and sell it. And that has a really cool interaction with Trinity. And so Trinity is the collaborative protocol that Hexecutioner, Red Squirrel, and myself are launching. Shout out really mostly to Red Squirrel because he was generous enough to bring Hexecutioner into this new protocol that he's launching because he's the one who's made the contracts and everything like that. So Red Squirrel gets the credit for the contracts and all of the fun stuff that's happening. I'm just fortunate enough to be along for the ride. But basically, oh, yes, before I get to there, discounts for those who mint with a squirrel and or sloth. Okay, so yeah, before I get into Trinity, this is important. You guys need to know this. If you hold a sloth DDS NFT in the wallet, you get a 5% discount on your mint. If you hold a squirrel NFT in your wallet, you also get a 5% discount. These are additive. So if you hold both in your wallet, you only pay 900,000 pulse versus the million pulse. So I highly recommend if you have a sloth DDS or a crypto or a red squirrel NFT, mint from that wallet. Also, for those of you guys who don't know, in the code, every wallet who mints with both a squirrel and a sloth in its wallet, that wallet gets recorded on the contract. What that's going to be used for, I'm not quite sure. We don't really know, but just know that those wallets are being recorded. 1 second again. Sorry, guys. Got a call again. I had to pick it up. It was my brother. I just want to make sure everything was okay. Okay. Sorry. Back to where I was. So if you mint, and this is called the Trinity set, as what Hashkeisha says. So if you mint with a sloth and a squirrel in your wallet, that wallet gets recorded. All royalty set will be recorded. No expectations, but you may be rewarded for your participation. So this is a strategy. There's a strategy here that you can do. Say you wanted to mint 5 of these ocelots, right? What you could do is get your sloth and your squirrel in the first one, mint 1, move it all to another wallet, mint 1, move it to another wallet, mint 1. So you're getting multiple wallets recorded on this list just in case something happens, just in case there's some value given to the people who do that. And so you can maximize the number of wallets that get those benefits if it happens. Oh, Agent Jay, what's up, man? It's good to see you. I got to meet Zenith on the Pulse Chain Tour. I wish more of you guys were there, but it's a pleasure to meet him, and I hope you're doing well. Yes, that's correct, Crypto Dave. If you have a DDS and a Squirrel in the wallet, it's 1.8 million for the perpetual royalties. That's correct, because it's a 10% discount. All right. So that's what's happening with the Ocelots. Let's talk about what's happening with Trinity really quickly. Trinity is a protocol that is looking to give liquidity to our NFTs, essentially. And so this goes back to the question of the 404 question that we had before. And don't worry, Ozzy, I'm going to get your question. I tagged it. So how do you feel about 404 NFT? So you can think of this contract kind of like a pseudo 404 kind of thing, where it's like an escrow contract, and you can put a NFT into it, and out of it, it's going to spit 555 tokens. For my NFT, it's 555 sloth tokens. For squirrels, it's 555 squirrel tokens. And for executioners, it's 555 ocelot tokens. And so you can put the NFT in, get 555 tokens, and you can put 555 tokens in and get an NFT out. So it's a way to make these NFTs a little bit more liquid, because we're going to set up liquidity pools will exist for these assets depending on who sets them up. And so it's a way to be able to enter or exit these NFTs without having to go to an NFT marketplace. And that's one of the big problems with NFTs, right? They're illiquid nature. You need a one-to-one buyer and seller. And if you don't have that one-to-one buyer and seller, there are no sells. There's no market action. With this, liquidity pools are going to be able to be set up so that you can trade these NFTs. Maybe if you wanted to exit, you deposit them in the contract, get your tokens, and then sell your tokens. Maybe if you wanted to buy them, you buy the tokens, and then you go into the contract and you remove it. This also creates some really interesting arbitrage opportunities or potential arbitrage opportunities. And the first one is that, well, not the first one, but it just allows for arbitrage. So let's say, for example, you can buy the NFT for 1 million pulse, but 555 of these tokens equals 2 million pulse. So you can go on the secondary market, buy the NFT, put it into the contract, get the tokens, and sell it for a 2x in your pulse in this specific example. And then the opposite is also true. Say the floor price of these NFTs is much higher than the current market value of these tokens. Well, what you can do is take these tokens, redeem it for an NFT, and put it on the marketplace around the floor value, or maybe a little bit below the floor value. And what that's going to do is allow you to profit. That route is a little less for sure than the other route that I outlined at the beginning, and that's because of the illiquid nature of NFT. So in order to take advantage of that arbitrage opportunity, somebody needs to come in and buy that NFT off of the marketplace for you to be able to profit. But what it does mean is if the value of the NFTs, 555, if the value of the tokens, 555 of these tokens, is less than the floor value on the marketplace, people are going to go buy the token up on the marketplace in the LP pools, because they're getting a better deal that way. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And to answer Snowflake Society's question, I think 404 contracts are cool. I think they're innovative, and I'm glad that we have them. They're still untested because they're new. So we don't know if there are any problems with them yet, just because they're so new. Not to discourage anybody from building on them or participating in them from a market perspective. But for our project, and really the reason why Red Squirrel went this route instead of the 404 route is because ERC20 contracts and ERC721 contracts have been around forever. We know how they work, and they're much more trusted. And so the new contract that he's building obviously is going to be audited and whatnot. But he decided not to go the 4 route and do this route instead. And it allows for a little bit more game theory mechanics behind it as well, because not only can you provide value to the NFTs, but you can also provide value to the tokens themselves. And the way I like to frame it is what we're building, me, Execution, Red Squirrel, is we're building a DeFi foundational base for the 3 of us. And so we're going to be in this base, and each of us individually are going to go out on our own and even together and create value, right? And so it's going to create value. that value that we create individually or in any future collaborations that we do together, that value is going to be funneled back into the base Trinity layer of the LP pools that are able to be created because of the Trinity contracts, right? And so there would be like arbitrage opportunity between all three of our tokens. I know, at least for me, I can't speak for Red Squirrel and Hexecutioner, but I have some of their NFTs. I do plan to get those. I do plan to mint some of their tokens by depositing the NFTs, and I want to create some liquidity pools between our tokens so that there's going to be arbitrage between our different NFT projects. So, for example, if Hexecutioner is creating something really, really valuable, people can get into his collection by going through my collection as well. Like if they can get in cheaper by getting a sloth, swapping it for sloth tokens, and then swapping those for Ocelot tokens, that would be more valuable to them. And it looks like Hexecutioner is also planning to set some LP pools up. And so this is the base place. This is like the foundation that we're building, where all of us get to go create value and then funnel that value back to a centralized place. And this design has been built to just be like an infrastructure layer. This is not like the full closed loop ecosystem. It's built so that we have flexibility going into the future to continue to add layers of complexity over time. And that's kind of like my thesis of complexity overall, my opinion of complexity. All complexity is just simplicity multiplied within of itself. So it's a bunch of simple base parts combined together in a specific way to create complexity. And so we're still on that simple layer where we don't have two simple layers. So when I created my NFT project, I had no idea this was going to happen. But I wanted to create an NFT project because just having ERC 721s attached to my brand and my likeness allowed me the flexibility to build in a bunch of ways in the future. I can essentially take the block that I've created and plug it in to anything else I wanted to build in the future. And this is a perfect example, right? So even though I created my NFT project before these contracts has launched, it can be plugged into the Trinity system because of the nature of ERC 721s. And so by doing that, not by doing that, but that idea still exists going forward as well. This is not a system where it's static and it can't be built upon. But in actuality, it's made in such a way where it's very easy to plug it into anything that's built in the future, both individually by me, Squirrel, or Hexecutioner, and collectively by us three, or anybody who happens to want to build on top of it as well, if they so choose to do so. And I will say I'm very honored to be working with Red Squirrel and Hexecutioner. These are two guys that I've known in the space for a very long time. Hey, there he is. There's Red Squirrel. There's the man. I've known Red Squirrel and Hexecutioner for quite a while in the crypto space. They've both become good friends of mine. Red Squirrel, you obviously know him from all his crazy flow charts that he's made. And for those of you that have been very into the icosahedron ecosystem, you guys definitely know Hexecutioner from the marathon live streams he did on the Icosa VC chat. And more importantly, not more importantly, but also at the same time, not just talking about icosahedron, but also he has done a whole body of work in those VCs about liquidity providing as well. And so, yeah. Working with these two guys who also have a mind for, tokenomics, token mechanics and stuff like that, I think is going to yield a lot of fun games to play. Whatever the tokens do in price, whatever the NFT does in price, obviously I would much rather these things be expensive than cheap, of course. But for me, I'm just excited to work with my friends and build things together that we think are cool. And, if price wants to reflect that, that's great. And if price doesn't reflect that, that's great. I'm perfectly happy if it's just us three participating in this thing and it's just a little sandbox that the three of us do together and no one else really wants to participate. But if you guys want to be along for the ride, you want to come along with us as we continue to use Pulse Chain as our sandbox to provide value and build the things that we find are cool, this is your opportunity to get in on the ground floor of all that. And the way you would do that is by holding a Sloth, Squirrel, or Ocelot NFT. The Ocelots are still going for mint. If you want Squirrels or mine, you're going to have to go on the secondary market. And NFT.9mm.pro has the cheapest Sloth DDS NFTs on the market. So definitely go there first if you're thinking of purchasing one. Crypto Dave had a question. It seems like a huge advantage to mint with perpetual royalties, right? Yeah, so it depends on your goals, right? If you're looking to get more NFTs to get more tokens, I would not mint with royalties. But if you want to speculate that these NFTs are going to be circulated in the secondary market multiple times because of the different arbitrage opportunities, so it's like you put it in the contract, maybe somebody pulls it out, sells it on the secondary market, and that iterates multiple times based on different things that we build. You know, that's a speculation you can play, and you're paying double for that. And so I think I can't executioner remind me of what the royalties for ocelots are again. But like let's just say it's 10%, right? So for every million pulse in the secondary market, you're getting 100,000 after 10 market exchanges. After 10 market exchanges, you make your money back. So it's theoretical that you can make it back, and then after you make it back, it's profit from there. So that's the value. I don't want to recommend it too much because NFTs are pretty illiquid, and the probability of a lot of buys and sells is not always the highest. It depends on the activity that's going on. 18%, so it's a little less. So basically 6 sells and you're back to break even. A lot of the secondary market sales are going to depend on the value that we provide. And so I would say a bet on the royalties is a further bet on us. And I think it's a perfectly valid bet. I just want everybody to be aware of the risks associated with paying double for the NFTs. If you wanted to just participate on the token layer, I would say the best strategy there is to get as many NFTs as possible. But if you wanted to say like, hey, I think these things are going to be cycled through a lot because of all these arbitrage opportunities, maybe it's worth getting 1 or 2 with the double with the 2 mil pulse royalties to have a hedge that way. Oh, Hex Hodler, great meeting you. I need to get my friend over. Hex Hodler, dude, it's a pleasure to meet you too, man. You're an awesome guy, and I'm excited to see your channel pop up and start growing with it. So when it goes up, DM me on Twitter with the handle and everything. I'll give it a little shout out. Definitely follow it myself, and we'll see if we can't get you started a little bit, man. Brown 310, good to see you, man. Hola, hope you're doing well. Paul, what's up, Paul? How you doing, man? It's good to see you. If I remember correctly, were there some updates on Mintra? I think. Remind me if there were. I have a vague memory that there were. But yeah, all right, guys. How long have we been going? About 40 minutes. I think that's a good test stream. I'll probably do another one a little bit later in the week. It seems like everything has been going well. Oh, there's one more question I need to get to. Aussie Stone. My ICOSA liquid coins good to stay put till V2? Yeah, I think at this point, if you already have the coins, they're so illiquid and you get so much slippage generally from selling them that at this point, probably best just to hold them and try to migrate them over on V2 when the time comes. If you don't want to take that extra risk, you can go ahead and sell the coins just to lock in whatever value that you have. But what's interesting of eHex, eHedron, and eICOSA looks like it's getting the most buys coming into it, the most bid support. So that's been interesting to watch. All right. Any last questions before I pop off, guys? I hope you enjoyed the surprise stream, and 166 people have popped in on a stream that I did not announce at all, which is pretty great. Oh, something super cool. I believe I will be on DCC stream tonight in the studio. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Going to probably talk all the eHex drama, and probably if I'm lucky and DCC lets me, I'll probably talk a little bit about Trinity and the NFTs that we're doing. But yeah, I would definitely. Oh yeah, so of these 162 people, 136 of them are from Twitter, which is pretty crazy. That's the highest Twitter. That's the highest Twitter viewership I've ever had. So we have about 30 people watching on YouTube, which is pretty cool. Yeah, guys. I appreciate all your time. Keep on the lookout for another stream from me. I'd like to do one more before Vegas talking about other things, and then I'll get back to my streaming setup at home where I have my little whiteboard thing. So I have some things I want to talk about with you guys more along the lines of like portfolio management, portfolio management, risk management, taking profits, some things I've been talking about in my private group that I wanted to also share with you guys. If you're interested in the private group, it's go to the link in the description below. It's cryptosloth.info on the memberships page. We do calls every week. We had one today and we had one yesterday. You get a free course and stuff like that. So I'd love to see as many of you guys in there as possible. I also do free 15-minute calls. Go on my Twitter for that. And for those on the replay, I'll add that link down there as well to schedule a lot of time. Yeah, Ethan Crane. Hey, man. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. All right, guys, I'm gonna call it here. Thank you all 170 of you who have tuned in for this surprise test stream. Maybe I'll change the name and put a thumbnail up. We'll see. Alan comes in late. What did I miss? You missed the secret to 10,000x gains, Alan, and unfortunately, there's not going to be a recording, so you missed out, buddy. Try to catch me live, man. Try to catch me live. I was late for the surprise. I hope you're doing well, Alan. All right, guys, that is it for me. Peace out.